The universe is old. The galaxy is the same age. And we have told you this before, that over 4 billion years, this galaxy has been finished. And in some places, the solar systems around the stars completed. And while this Earth was still forming, there was life elsewhere. We have told you this before to give you the information and also the reality that you can see in the stars with your instruments about how old they are. The galaxy was alive and working and functioning with a system of benevolence while the Earth was churning over and volcanoes were going off. That was on purpose. You're not that old, and we've told you that. Geologists, we've hinted at some things before. We want you to rearrange some thinking. You take a look at some things on this planet, the majesty of certain mountains that have risen like slabs and pointed to the sky, and you say, well, this was 1,000,000 years for this to happen, and you look at certain other things, and you say, this took 10,000 years for this river to cut this particular path, and you look at something else. Let me tell you, I'll give it about 100 years or less. I will tell you, some of the youngest mountains that you see in northern Canada were pushed up and you could watch them grow. Can you imagine how violent this planet was at one time? You got to rearrange your thinking of how violent the planet was when it was cooling and when it became active over and over, squashing life over and over by design. While there was life in the galaxy developing just like yours, with cities and civilizations, DNA, they had names, and they knew God. I give you the information yet again, because I want to talk about time capsules, and I want to talk about something we've never talked about before called the template. And I want you to understand how loved you are. That all of this was designed for you. It was designed for today. It wasn't designed for the old energy when you were struggling. It was designed for today when you're going to grow up. Dear ones, when the Pleiadians showed up, they had been through thousands of years of evolution after they had passed their own marker, in their own way, in their own planet. We told you they had solved what you would call planetary overpopulation. When they started to live longer, they had the wisdom and the science. And the science was not machines. The science came with the physics of consciousness to be able to make what they needed literally from the consciousness of their minds. To be able to shape that which you would call the reality of travel. There were 3 Pleiadian planets by the time you were seated around the same set of suns. And before them, they had their seed parents who went through similar things. And before them, they had their seed parents who went through similar things. Millions of years of humanity on their planets, knowing God before humans ever showed up. There is a lineage in this galaxy which is remarkable. The galaxy is old and you're not. And yet, and we say this with all respect, dear human being, you had to come from somewhere. What you brought to this planet was a star Akash because you had participated in so much of this life by the time it was your turn. That's in your DNA too, but it's not going to be revealed for a very long time. A very long time. That's because you need to work on who you are and who you've been here first. I'm going to make a statement, and I don't want you to get it wrong. You, human being, represent the lowest spiritual consciousness in the galaxy. You're the new kids on the block, and you're just growing up. And all around you in this galaxy, there are life forms with high consciousness, so high, that they were able to come here without craft and seed you and not go back. Can consciousness ever get to a point where this is possible? And what I want to beg you is to stop dividing human consciousness and corporeal selves with God. You are here and God is somewhere else, and you'll never get together, and that is wrong. The actual premise is that God is in you, and the higher the consciousness, the more you meld into God. The masters of the planet were so profound, you couldn't tell if they were God or not. That's high consciousness. An angel comes to visit you. You have no concept of whether the angel is from the great central source or a Pleiadian. That is because you can't tell the difference. It's simply physics. And I want to make a statement. The Pleiadians are not God. They represent the great central source in a task that they have performed for you. And with free choice, if you will survive what is coming, the task will be on you someday to do the same for someone else. This is a large system throughout the galaxy that has never been taught to you by anyone. You are so closed in your spiritual thinking. And what I'm going to say next will offend just about everybody. If you're listening to this and you are invested in one of the major earth religions, I would like to ask you in all love a very real question, and that is this. When you discover there is life everywhere, and they come and they present themselves to you, and you see they're humanoid, and you can see they have consciousness and beauty, I'm going to ask you, what are you going to do with it? When your belief is wrapped around a prophet that may have given his life for this planet, what are you going to do with it? Are they going to be part of what you would call the beauty of heaven or not? Or are you going to exclude them? And if you're not and you're going to include them, how do you explain it? How do you explain it? Because it's going to happen. Get ready. You have a spiritual system that excludes the galaxy. What do you think? High or low consciousness? Dear ones, you are part of the whole. That includes trillions of souls in this galaxy. Some souls have not been seated and some have. Yes, you are visited by some who have no God inside but still have souls. I would like to tell you, we know that, you know that. And we've never spoken perhaps of it in this way or this frankly. But let me tell you something. None of them have ever masked an attack. None of them have ever landed on the White House lawn. Isn't that odd? It's because you're protected. The ones who have the highest consciousness in this galaxy are still here. And it's enough to scare away anything that would visit you. It does not have the same. Wisdom has prevailed in the galaxy so that Star Wars doesn't exist. They're wiser. What you do is you propel your low consciousness on everything else, even God. We have told you that. You have propelled human consciousness on the Almighty. You said God is angry, God is jealous, God is vengeful, God punishes. That is humans, not God. In your science fiction, you travel around the galaxy and you war with everybody. That's funny. They were done warring a long time ago. They're very old and they're very wise. You're going to discover as you grow in your wisdom, and your DNA starts to allow awareness into your life, that there'll come a day when you will look backwards and laugh at who you were. The time capsules were placed here in an esoteric way at the seeding of humanity. They've always been here. And what you didn't know is that they opened early and then shut again, because they created something called a template for humanity. And the template was something put upon human consciousness that would look for God.